Ibu Ibu, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is the farewell to 15 fellows who are completing their 1994 fellowship program. It's the last of 3 programs which have had an emphasis on training development to try and fulfill the needs of Indonesian polytechnic lecturers for experience and training development. To fulfill those needs, we've had over the last 3 years to use many people and many organisations representing business, professional organisations and the TAFE system. And I would estimate that over the 3 years some 150 people have helped us with the fellowship program. I do know that some people amongst the 150 have probably done more than some of the others, but let's say there is 150 people that have helped us with the fellowship program. The fellowship program trying to develop people who are going back to their polytechnic to develop their own country and develop their own programs. I guess at the end of any program, and according to the needs of ADAB, we should do an evaluation. But I would suggest that how can we do an evaluation of people who for 10 months have been in a different culture, getting a wide range of experiences, whether it's in a short course program or whether it's tackling the challenge hill at Woodhouse on a team building exercise. But what I've tried to do, and with the help of other people, is created an environment in which the fellows here have been motivated to go out and do things and learn things and do new things that they don't have an opportunity to do in Indonesia. And I think we've had a fair bit of success in that area. If we've not been exactly successful as according to what a particular fellow wants to do, I, in very Japanese, would say I'm very sorry and I apologise. But I guess if we evaluate, we usually try to get in quantitative terms. And if we put into quantitative terms what has been achieved over the period, well, we've had 52 lecturers here from Indonesian polytechnics. They represent about 10% of the business studies lecturers. The emphasis has been on experience and training and development, not so much on academic. And I guess if there's one word that would fit this, it's flexibility, because I think sometimes we've changed the program from one day to the next, because I think it's a good idea for someone to get some experience in some other activity, which I only heard about yesterday. We've had, I guess, over the 3 years, about 350 activities on the program, approximately. I might, if I clean my desk, be able to give an exact figure, but I think 350 will be near enough. But I think what is more relevant is that approximately 2,200 textbooks are going back to Indonesia, which the fellows have purchased here through, of course, the sponsorship of ADAB. 2,200 may not sound many to us, but if I tell you the Polytechnic at Denpasar has about 1,600 in its library, you can perhaps see the benefit of 2,200 textbooks going back into Indonesia. Not only that, they are recent additions. Apart from that, there's probably about another 2,500 other teaching resources have gone back to Indonesia for use in the Polytechnic system. If you were interested in another useful or useless statistic, the postage weight for that is just a little under 5 tons, all of which have been processed through the Tea Tree Gully Post Office, who now are used to the idea of people who are Indonesians walking in the door with shopping trolleys loaded with boxes that weigh between 7 and 15 kilograms. And those who have an interest in occupational health and safety would realise the lifting problems there. So those resources have gone back into Indonesia. There is also, we could say, there are 49 of the lecturers who are capable of running the small business program that's through Adelaide Institute. They are capable of leading and running that program in Indonesia. 93% of the business organisations in Indonesia are less than 20 people. There's 76 million in the workforce. So think of the potential with 49 instructors now in Indonesia in the polytechnics who can run the small business program if they are given the opportunity. There are on the way to Indonesia and lying around out at Siet, there are about 70 projects that have been prepared by the polytechnic lecturers over the 3 years. Projects which are teaching methodology, curriculum projects, or even production of videos. 70, the majority of those are books. And if I said the books are between 50 and 300 pages, and they are resources that are going back into Indonesia that have been prepared by the polytechnic lecturers while they're here. We've given them the opportunity to prepare a project which they would like to do based on their knowledge that they've learned here. And I hope that in the future they can be used in Indonesia. I guess I would not be able to list the new skills that the groups have learned here, but let's say that one of the interesting things that we were able to organise this year at Adelaide Institute is 5 of the accounting lecturers working as assistant lecturers in the accounting department at Adelaide Institute, an example. And I am still impressed when some of the polytechnic lecturers have almost laughed and said how they've been able to run tutorials for Australian students at Adelaide Institute, and proving that the accounting is not their biggest problem, it's the language problem, and they've been able to overcome that. So I think all of us would understand that's a great builder of confidence for people who are going back into the Indonesian polytechnic system. And the last thing, which is probably worthwhile mentioning, that I originally met the group in Indonesia in Denpasar in October 1993 when they started their language training. And one of the things that I like to think about sometimes is the ability for each of us to understand each other. Because my Bahasa Indonesia is not yet good. But one of the interesting things has been to see their improvement in the use of English language when they've been here, to see the increase in the confidence in understanding English-speaking people. We may say, well, that's not quite right because they have their own language, but all of us here would know that the international language of business is English language. It's not Indonesian, it's not German, it's English language. And the people here are business studies lecturers. So they have, while they're here, gained the benefit of the English language, and I think all of you that have worked with them would probably think of times when you were trying to have a reasonable conversation with people and perhaps laughing on both sides about your language. So I think if there are quantitative things, they would be some of them. But on it, other people tonight mentioned about the culture and perhaps some of their recreational activities. I became an instructor in skiing in Falls Creek when I could make comments about the skiing ability of some of the polytechnic lecturers that, let's say, tidak bagus, not good. So I should say that the canoeing we did at Lunchtown, I was fairly impressed with that because I knew some of the people had never been in a canoe before, and when we were out in the Murray and did a 4 or 5 kilometre journey, I think I, and I'm sure all of the fellows, were very keen and very happy that we'd accomplished that other activity. I could also mention about our night at Mount Everton, which is, some of you know. I could say that some people had difficulty in getting down off of the mount, and they found their skiing ability down the slope was not quite good enough. But they are all part of the fun that we probably had on our program. I did mention team building. I have had an idea to run an outdoor adventure activity for the last 3 years, but this year was the first time we were able to do it in association with the Institute of Management. The team building, some of you may have been on exercises, but the site of the team building was the commando course at Woodhouse, which is the Scout Association property at Stirling East. And Ian Wilson, who's over here tonight, I recall a language problem, but right at the start he said, "Okay, we're in a team," or something like that. The 28 minutes is the record to get around this. Well, the 28 minutes, of course, was done by teams of 15-year-old scouts at a jamboree, with all due respect to a little bit fitter than 34-year-old Indonesians or Australians of my age. So the team was sort of pushed aside, it was let's go, and the individuals tended to race over the activities, the obstacles, but eventually with a little bit of stop, let's see where we are and talk about the team effort, we managed to get around the commando course in 2 hours. And a very good barbecue at my home afterwards, which made it a great day. Courtesy, of course, of Ada. But I think that would be a little experience, which I'm sure I will remember, because I know that some people had a lot of difficulty getting over the obstacles, and those people took the challenge and did it. And of course, that's all part of the development of people. I can also say that when a group has went to the football, football has been one of the things, because in Australia we have so many different codes, as we know, that when I say football, it's not sure, but as one that follows rugby, that's an unknown sort of sport in Indonesia. But I can say that when we were at the Hindmar Stadium last, whatever day it was, Sunday, when there was soccer football, that I can say that the Indonesians were barracking for the right side, the one that won, which was an Adelaide team, and West Adelaide defeated a team from Melbourne. So they, and there are many, many more memories that I would have, and I would say my sincere thanks to all the fellows for giving me a very wonderful year this year, and I have to say to the fellows before, thank you to them as well. I know Kerry Schultz has been thanked before. Kerry is over here, the administration officer who's assisted with the program, and my sincere thanks to Kerry for the support that she has given over the year. I should also thank Doreen, wife over here. We sometimes meet at home because I come home a bit late. I guess after Monday it's going to be a bit lonely. We'll probably be Doreen and I and Abe the cat, and there won't be 15 other people that we're sort of thinking about or answering the telephone about. So thank you very much, Doreen, for your support. Well, it's come to the conclusion of our program for this year. To the fellows here this evening, I wish you, from myself and from all your friends that are here this evening, Godspeed for your return to Indonesia, and a very happy time with your in your future lives, and our greetings to your family, and we wish you well for the family reunions that you'll have on Sunday or early next week. Godspeed to all of you. It's our time to say farewell to you, and we hope that in this world, or maybe in the next, that we will meet again. So that's farewell, and I think the fellows will also say farewell to us in the usual way that they do. That is, I'm sure they have some farewell songs for us. Perhaps we could ask them to come forward for the last farewell.